New Orleans Voodoo owner Dan Newman will get up and say some words. We do have some players here as well that are available for interviews. The only thing we ask that you do is use our backdrop in the process. And with that said, let's get it started. It's hot out here. Let's get this thing going. New Orleans owner Dan Newman.
First of all, thank you all for coming. I know this is a busy day, Monday after a busy weekend. There's a lot going on, and we don't take for granted that you're here. It means a lot. Second thing I want to say is Greg Gibson, the owner of this Hooters and all the Hooters in Louisiana, is a great friend. He's a great guy, and I appreciate him hosting this today. And I don't see Greg out here right now, but when you think about him, say a prayer for Vince, his father. They had a great get-together for Vince with some old-time coaches this weekend we couldn't be a part of because of our game, but Vince is not forgotten at what he's contributed to this area and to sports, and he is in declining health, so we wish him the best. This has been a very trying time for us. This is professional football. Going 2-12 is very, very uncomfortable, and it's not fair to the season ticket holders, the sponsors, and the city of New Orleans for the slide to continue. We wanted to show, and in this process are showing the city of New Orleans, our season ticket holders, our fans, you guys, that we're committed long-term to put a winning program on the field in the New Orleans arena. It's amazing. We are unwinnable. I don't even know how you're supposed to say that, but we're skunked in the New Orleans arena, and every home game more people come to see the Voodoo. I think that speaks to the ownership that people in this area have taken in this football team. We don't take that lightly. Yesterday I made a very hard decision, and that was to change our head coaching. Derek Stingley is a longtime personal friend of mine. He, in many respects, is like a younger brother. He has a very storied career as an Arena Football League AFL player, had great success in AF2, and this was his dream job. And so when I talked with Derek yesterday, obviously it wasn't unexpected, but it was uncomfortable for both of us. I wish him the best, and more than anything, I hope that this is just a glitch in his career in the Arena Football League, and that he will have tremendous success where he goes. This is also a difficult time to do this in light of the fact that there are 4 weeks left in the AFL regular season plus playoffs. So to go out and look for a coach right now is difficult. They're all under contract, or most of them are under contract. In fact, as an owner, I can't have direct contact with an AFL coach that is under contract. So what we are doing is reaching out to one of our own and asking him to fill in for the balance of this season. He's actually our general manager. He is a lifer in the Arena Football League. He was actually a player the very first year of the AFL and has served as assistant coach throughout the Arena Football League very successfully. He served as an AF2 head coach in 2 different cities and was very successful in both. And he is our general manager, Jon Norris, and he has this morning submitted his resignation as the Voodoo general manager and has contracted to be the Voodoo head coach for the balance of the season. He and I met with the Voodoo players and the coaching staff yesterday evening. We had a very emotional time together. We talked about where we were going, and this morning in the arena, Jon Norris led the first practice as the Voodoo head coach. All that being said, let me say this. We started today a national search for an experienced Arena Football League head coach that will be here shortly to take this team to the next level. We are committed to be here long term, and we're committed to win. We are committed to do whatever it takes to put that winning product on the field as quickly as possible. We have 4 games left. We go to Tampa this Friday night. We're back at the New Orleans Arena against Milwaukee, and we finish on the road against Utah and Orlando. None of those teams are gimmies. And let me just speak to one thing. For those of you who understand the Arena Football League game, it is a game of inches. This team is not really far away from achieving what we want to achieve on the field. And I told the guys what we're talking about is not blowing it up, we're talking about tweaking. We've come so close at home. We had the number 1 team and the number 2 team in the league on the ropes in our building. And they both barely beat us, Jacksonville and Arizona. So we've got a great nucleus and a good place to start building from. Jon is a player's guy. He was a player himself. He knows the game from both perspectives. There are some players that we'll introduce after Jon comes up and says a few words that are here. Some are experienced AFL players. Some have played for Jon Norris before. All obviously have played for Coach Stingley, and they will be available to you for one-on-ones when we get done here. Feel free to ask anything, and when we get through, incidentally, I'll be available for questions. You can ask me anything you want. I appreciate Ken Trahan being here today. Ken is the voice of the Voodoo, local sports aficionado. He is the guy that when I need any information about local sports is here. He's the guy I ask. And Ken takes this team to heart. It's like it's his team. And I appreciate his support through this entire process. So with that being said, the interim general manager, permanent general manager of the Voodoo, interim head coach for the balance of the 2011 season, this is Jon Norris, and that's spelled Jon, Norris. Jon?
Get it right, sir.
It's not easy for me to take over in this capacity because Derek Stingley, I've known him since he was 14 years old. When I was a player with the New England Patriots, Derek's dad used to bring him to practices up at Bryant College and at the old Sullivan Stadium back in 1985. Derek was a 14-year-old kid, and I used to play catch with him. Many years later, when he got into the Arena Football League, I had the privilege of coaching him in his last season as a player in Dallas. And then we competed against each other at the AF2 level as head coaches, and then I was fortunate enough to have Coach Stingley on my staff in 2009 for our 2009 campaign up in Bossier Shreveport. So Derek is a close friend. He's very close with me, and it's very difficult these circumstances right now. We've got a group of young men who made a decision to come here to play, and a lot of them made that decision because Derek was here, and they've played for Derek before, they've been around him before, or they know of his reputation as a head coach. One of the things I made clear to everybody last night was I was not coming and asking our players to play for me. I asked them to play for themselves and whatever motivates them to play. You'll find at our level of football, guys play for a lot of different kinds of motivation. But I asked them to at least play for themselves and come to work every day with a count-on-me attitude, so they could look at the guy beside them and let them know that they could count on them every day to put in what it takes to be a winner at our level each day. And I want that to carry over and bleed into our football and bleed into our games. We had our first practice this morning. It was a good, spirited practice. There was not a lot of contact. We did not practice in pads. We'll do that tomorrow. But we went back to some fundamentals. It wasn't a Vince Lombardi type of thing where I came out and said, this is a football. But we did go back to doing some blocking and tackling and a lot of basics and a lot of things to help with the confidence of our football team and each individual as a football player so they could begin to turn things around. I am a football coach. I will always be a football coach. I moved to the front office, and that is my role and my capacity and how I can best serve the Voodoo, and that's why I decided to do this. Right now, I plan on serving this organization first, and serving our football players and helping them get everything that they want to get out of this situation. And at the same time, in helping these people, we're going to give the fans what they deserve these last 4 games, and in particular, our last home game. I've got a unique perspective here, being the color commentator with my broadcast partner, Ken Trahan. I'm going to miss not doing that during football games. I really am, because it was a joy to work with Ken. It's something that I'd never done before, but he made me very comfortable in the booth, and we enjoyed doing it. But I had a great perspective from up there, and this past game, I couldn't help but realize that we're down by 3 or 4 scores in the fourth quarter. And there was a break, and it was time to do the YMCA. And believe it or not, you know, when you're away from coaching, you're up in the booth, and you kind of tap into the feeling that the crowd gives you. I was up there kind of doing the YMCA myself and realized, look at these fans. We're down by 3 scores. Nobody has left, and they're having a great time. The people of this region and the people from New Orleans are some of the most gracious people around, and they enjoy a good time. They deserve better football, and that's what we're going to aim for, and we will give them better football here in the very near future. I'll be available here for any type of questions right after this, and I'm more than proud to be here representing our organization as its head coach for these last 4 games. Thank you.
Well put. Hey, you Voodoo players, step forward. I want to introduce each of you. Quarterback Danny Wimprine. Everybody knows Danny. Tommy Taggart, number 47, fullback lineman. Mokeet Ruffin, big guy in the back, offensive lineman, defensive lineman. D. Bryant,